those kinds of entertainment places and call it a B school, then many real estate companies get into education because they believe they have the infrastructure, but that's not what really appeals to students finally.
Alright, so here we are today. Another very interesting video for you. In this particular video, we're going to talk about 10 things you need to keep in mind before you make a choice of your particular B school. And to do that, I have a very veteran educationalist in front of me. I'm joined with Anil Sachdev. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today and giving us your time. For context, tell us or tell our audience who you are, what you have done in life so far.
First part of my life was in the automotive industry, and I was in Eicher for a long time, headed HR, headed operations, joined the board of the company, then created a company called Eicher Consulting, which became a significant management consulting company. We brought A.T. Kearney to India, and then we were a joint venture with a Menlo Park-based company called Strategic Decisions Group, 150 PhDs, all from Stanford. And so I was the founder and the CEO for 10 years. Then we created a new company called Grow Talent, which became the largest strategic HR consulting firm in the country. And then 2009, we set up SOIL, School of Inspired Leadership, in partnership with 32 clients. So that has been my journey so far.
Let's talk about the first point. I mentioned about the 10 things that people should keep in mind, students should keep in mind. There are a lot of B schools that come into forefront. A lot of new B schools also come in with their own USPs every single year. When you set up SOIL, what was the thing that you had in your mind? What was the vision and the statement that you had? And how important is it for students who are walking into a particular B school to know about that vision and statement that a particular B school believes in?
In our case, we felt that business ought to be a vehicle for good. You and I spend more time in our workplace than we do at home. So how we work defines the culture of how we live. And so we said if work could become more fulfilling and if business was taking responsibility for the way we live now, then it could become a very powerful source of impact. So we said we should do an experiment. That's why we called all the 32 large companies with whom we had done deep work, who had seen our work, to join hands with us. And we said we should completely rethink the curriculum. That if business school graduates tomorrow become business leaders, how should they be leading their companies towards what? So that's why we said the most important thing is the leaders must have very strong character. And then we said they must have overall systems thinking, not narrow thinking. Right. And third, they should have the enthusiasm to carry on despite all the challenges. So these three words to us were the hallmark of good education: character, competence, and enthusiasm, based on which we designed a whole curriculum along with all our partners.
Right. And how do you think then, how much do you think then it is important for students to know about it? So for example, in your case, you're running SOIL, these are the three elements that are crucial. If somebody lacks this, should they be considering coming to a B school like this? And again, harping back to my question as to how important is to first know where you're getting into.
See, it's very important to understand the why of any organization, including business school. Why did they create that? What are they attempting to do? How are they going to hold themselves accountable? That whatever they have thought through, the curriculum they have thought through, the faculty they have brought, the pedagogy they have used, what are the finally learning outcomes? And what are they hoping to achieve by setting up the business school? So the why is very important. And then of course the downstream, everything else, the what and how, becomes very important as well.
But more and more B schools who come up, they talk about the kind of life that they are providing along with the academics that they're teaching these students as well. Do you think that for achieving that, a certain barrier of infrastructure is needed in a B school?
Yeah, I think you require the minimum infrastructure. For example, you require well-designed classrooms in which there is flexible furniture because there should be multiple intelligences. That old school which was there, like the Harvard classroom where the teacher is at the center of education, is completely being replaced. You no longer have the sage on the stage performing. Now it's student-centered learning. So teachers must be comfortable in spaces where you facilitate dialogue. So for instance, in SOIL, we have all flexible furniture. In many classrooms, we have round tables. So that the power of the teacher as a facilitator, because knowledge is available free. What you require is to facilitate and stimulate learning in the classroom, where students take responsibility. So that's why you have to be very imaginative in designing spaces, like in the campus where you are sitting. On the walls, you can write stuff. So because design is a very important part, and we have natural light and a lot of greenery, so all the elements that are necessary for inspiring people towards imagination and innovation. Yes, to that extent, yes. But it's not that you can build swimming pools and those kinds of entertainment places and call it a B school. Then many real estate companies get into education because they believe they have the infrastructure. But that's not what really appeals to students finally.
And do you think that teachers become very important in this as to how they teach it? Do they allow students to ask the why question in a classroom?
In fact, I believe the role of faculty members is to build the capacity in students to source the right questions. It's not the role of faculty to give answers. If we can build the capacity, the spirit of inquiry in students to source the right questions, asking the right questions is 100 times more important than giving the right answers. It requires more imagination on the part of a faculty to ask the right questions and help students to source new questions. Answers can be found plenty in the world of information today.
But if I am in a physical classroom, if I am learning from the very faculty members that you told me about, what should be the learning pedagogy then? Do I get into this nitty-gritty of, say, a particular B school is teaching 30 hours a week or not, 40 hours a week or not? What exactly is happening in those 40 hours? Do I get involved in that before I make that decision on getting it?
Yeah, it's very important to study the kind of pedagogy, and also there is a term called andragogy, which means experiential learning. So what kind of experiences are they designing? What are they curating? So for example, how much of it they are doing in terms of teams in students? How are they designing teams for students to study? What is the quality of diversity in the class? Many schools they are full of engineers and many from IT companies in the past. So are they consciously choosing people with liberal arts background, with humanities, commerce, science, technology? So then you learn better. And when faculty are giving them projects to do, because 70% of the learning takes place when you actually get structured experience. So those projects have to be very well thought through. And how much industry connect do they have? How many of real? Because see, management education is all about practice. Unlike pure sciences where you can do research, this is all about observing good practice and doing that. We must get thoughtful practitioners into the classroom regularly, and we must have practical academics who want to work with industry. Some academics just don't want to work with industry. They're very happy doing their research, publishing the paper, and then just teaching students. But that's a dangerous faculty member because that person is not keeping in touch with practice. So that's what we encourage in our school. We said we must have continuous partnership with the industry because that's the only way that we can have the right questions being asked in the classroom.
Right. Can you give me an example of when you said experiential learning? How do you make sure that the experiences come through, right? For example, do I need to set up a startup to understand the startup problems? Do I need to go and talk to a startup founder to understand their particular problem and then come and make a solution probably? How does that work?
See, let's say, for example, I personally teach in our school a course on consulting skills. So we set up teams and we ask them to work with a real client on a real problem, where they go and try to understand that, they make a proposal, they make a pitch, they get an assignment, and then they actually over several months do that project, and then go and finally present to the client what their recommendations are. And very often the clients love what they come out with so that it really adds value to their business. So this is a real life problem that I'm talking about. Similarly, let's say that even if it's something like leadership studies, which we do in the school a lot, we tell them, okay, now you're working with an NGO. The NGO is your client. The NGO has a real problem because their aspirations are very high, but the resources are limited. How can you help them with the innovation? Because when aspirations are higher than resources, that's when innovation occurs. So, for example, they're trying to do a new digital program to get their own cause to be better understood by society. So how do you look at the different multiple channels and actually working with people to make it happen? So that by the time they finish their social innovation program over, let's say, 6 months, the NGO says these students who came from soil actually helped us to solve this problem.
So if somebody is probably trying to get into a B school, how should they be presenting themselves? So in front of you, so probably different B schools assess you differently, right? Even if you have probably secured a good percentile in your CAT, the decision of a particular interviewer rests on the kind of profile that they see, right?
Sure.
They make a decision saying that this particular person will be a fit for my institute or not, right? So how should a student be presenting themselves when they are in that space for a B school?
The story they tell about themselves and the coherence in that story, why did they choose to do what they have done in life so far? And why did they not do something else they could have done? So how they put everything together and tell it like a coherent story, including if there was some downside in their life so far. For example, in a particular board exam they didn't do too well. There's a reason, and that reason must be shared in an authentic manner.
Let's talk about one more element that students keep in mind a lot, and which is the kind of fees that they have to put, the kind of money that they have to spend, whether they will get the return on the money that they're spending or not. A lot of students, they come in with a work ex background, they're leaving their jobs as well, the opportunity cost is high at their end. How much importance should students be putting in that? Do they do a math before coming into a B school, prior to coming to a B school, or they should be doing it once they're in?
They should certainly do an ROI, return on investment. In a good school, you should, suppose you are earning, let's say, a certain amount. Let's say you are earning 5 lakhs today and the school is giving you 12 lakhs at the end of 1 year of education, as an example. So you have earned 7 lakhs extra by spending 1 year. And in 3 years' time, you would have expected your salary to have also gone up. If you had not done this education, some salary increases you would have got. And now you have got incremental salary increase because of your education. So this additional money you have earned as a result of that in 3 years' time, if your fees is up to that extent, you shouldn't mind it, because then it's fine. So, but if you don't have prior experience, and if you come, let's say, for a 2-year program, like some students come straight out of college, then you should roughly say the minimum I want as an average salary is 75% of what I'm paying in a year. Let's say a school is charging 15 lakhs, 75% of that I should be able to get as my compensation.
So that is the math that everybody should be doing before coming into a B school. That's definitely helpful. What is it like for a B school student when they are making that choice to actually look at the companies that are coming? Do they see that, because my interest area is XYZ, I should be looking into whether the consulting firm is coming here and the kind of roles that they're giving me or not, or the finance company is coming or not? Should that be my criteria? Where should I put that in the list of criteria for me?
I would say it's an important one, but I would put it not at the topmost. Topmost I will put is the quality of education, curriculum, faculty, and what do the alumni say for a school which has run for a few years.
I will come to that.
Yeah, that is the most important. But yes, knowing the company's relationship with the company, which are the companies which are again and again supporting the school. Not the occasional one who came and took one student and we begin to build the brand, So companies which are repeatedly come to SOIL or any other business school, and why do they come there and what is in it for them?
How do you see the placement scenario to be in India right now, or probably are seeing in the next couple of years or 4 or 5 years? Because we all know that there is a hit in the market. There is a promising dent in terms of the kind of opportunities that we are looking at. For B schools, is it going to be very, very troublesome for them to make changes or make amends? Or do you think that this is just a wind that will pass very soon?
You're talking about the current situation? Yeah, the current situation, because two wars are going on in different parts of the world, and I think that has its impact on global economy, and especially tech sector, which was a very aggressive recruiter, has kind of slowed down, which is true. But thankfully, manufacturing is doing better. FMCG is somewhere in between. So I would say that this current challenge of what is happening is a challenge. There is no doubt about it. But I think the challenge is something which will go away in a few years. And in the global economy, India continues to be a bright spot, and I think people are investing more in India, and they are moving their money out of countries like China and putting into India. And the fact that we have a very growing infrastructure sector, the fact that the government is spending a lot into infrastructure, this is creating downstream demand for many companies. So auto companies are doing the best right now. Manufacturing companies like L&T are doing exceedingly well, for example. Yes, the tech companies were used to very fast growth, so they have kind of subdued right now, and I think that always happens. It's that sigmoid curve. Whatever goes up, one day will come down, and whatever is down today will go up. And this is the whole thing about life. So what goes down will go up, what is up will also go down, and I think we have to be prepared for that.
Right. Tech reminds me, and that's something that a lot of students put emphasis on, as to how technologically advanced a particular B school is, and how much of that is covered in the academics as well, and in the psyche of the institute as well. So how much do you put emphasis on that? Because without technology, things probably will just stop, and we won't be able to shoot this interview as well.
We decided right from the beginning is that we must have a comprehensive learning management system. We must have a technology. We had something called a Fedena, so we said we will do that. And then that has kept on getting improved. Now we have something more advanced called Canvas. Then we said that we should teach these courses also to students to prepare them. So about 8 years back, we decided we should start a separate whole track for decision science and analytics, because we could see it coming. And then 5 years back, we said that we must start going deeper into digital and digital transformation, because we could see it coming, because by talking to industry. Yeah. Now what we are learning is that AI is becoming, generative AI is going to disrupt. So we were one of the first schools saying we welcome ChatGPT. We told students you are welcome to use it. We have because just by getting ChatGPT to do your homework doesn't mean that you will become better. It's the creative question you will ask ChatGPT on how will you use the content of that to make a difference. And now software can tell you whether the answer is ChatGPT answer or your answer. That in any case we can come to know. But we must embrace that, and I think that what we are attempting to do now, and we have people from practitioners, because see, faculty members don't know how to teach this because there aren't enough faculty members. So you have to get people from industry who are willing to spend that time, which is something very important. I said, I may not be a digital native, I may be a digital migrant, but immigrant, but I can learn that. And so I began to learn a lot of it and practice it myself. And that's what I think we have to encourage everyone to do.
This particular B school has been in existence for quite some time now. What has been the involvement of the alumni in terms of creating and co-creating the place that you are creating, and how much of importance do alumni members actually have in selecting a particular B school? Do you give emphasis in that as a student, or should you be like, acha theek hai, they have done it, probably they were very good, what do I have to do with that?
See, the love that alumni have for soil is our biggest strength, and actually that is what, so we involve them in everything, whether it's designing new curriculum, it is mentorship for students. Many of our alumni are mentors now because they have got the experience. They come and join the admission interviews, they're part of selecting their juniors. Then we of course have this fun event like the Soil Premier League, the cricket thing that we do, which they come every year and so many batches come together and play. Then we invite them to our annual learning conference. We give this annual awards to them. Then we also designed unique learning programs only for alumni, just as an act of service. So last year we did this Future Leaders program that we co-created for them. And we called faculty from around the world to teach them. That was fascinating. But it's like saying, we are upgrading you further, and this is an investment we are making to say thank you to all that you do. So this is a continuous thing, I think, and everything that we do, we have an alumni angle to it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Anil. It was very insightful, and I hope that it was helpful for students who are making a choice for their B school. Do tell us how you like this particular video. If you have any further questions, tell us in the comments below, and we would make sure that these questions reaches to Anil and some of them get answered. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nice to be with you. Thank you.